So guys, it's again one of those casts, namely one of those casts I'm not going to do in German but rather in English, because we are talking about an international personality here, or rather two international personalities. We are talking about a match between Kaiserklein and Ungurs, and not just that. The matchup is France and Germany, and after we watch, or after we take a closer look at this game, we are going to take another closer look at my game against Mystery in the league. So basically what we're doing is we're going to, talk about the matchup in its entirety, and we're also going to talk about specific decisions right there that, well, influence the whole gameplay. And we're going to take those lessons that we basically learned from this game and transfer it to analyze my game even further than you could usually do. And joining me on this ride is nobody else than Alex, who you already know from his community cast games. Hello, Alex.
Hello, nobody else. That's kind of that's kind of a treat, I would say. Anyway, I'm a local guy from Austria, and I am.
That makes two of us.
yeah, I'm a personal friend and a big fan of M.F.D. So anyway,
you can say, Mano, you're basically family.
oh my god! And don't be too hard on me. It's the first time for me casting in front of a big crowd. I hope you find pleasure. I found a lot of pleasure watching these games. It's a hell of a game. I might be a little bit over saturating it if I say that it's a highly complex masterpiece when it comes to Age of Empires games, but it's really good. You will have a fun time.
I mean, he's just being quite humble right there. I'm going to be honest, it's a wonderful game to watch, and it's an even more wonderful game to analyze. And just to explain the setting here, Alex is actually, if we're talking about ELO, he's a few hundred points below me.
Yeah,
but if we're talking about brain power...
No. I'm a 1200 ELO player, and I'm really rusty when it comes to mechanics, but I stuck to the game since I was young, or I grew up with the game, and I stuck to it ever since. I played Wild Legacy, I played multiple Civs, and I played France and Germany as well, and I got some insight into the matchup. I hope I can get some points across and you can take some stuff away from it. There are really little things Kaiserklein does. He does it very well, and they really make the difference, especially in against a player like Ungurs, who is one of a hell of an opponent.
Absolutely on top of his game he is, yeah. We can confirm that, right? And without further ado, I'd say we start right into the game,
Yeah,
and we start casting.
The matchup is France against Germany.
Absolutely right.
On Sacronay, and Sacronay has Anyway,
we'll talk about that in a second, right? It will come up.
Let's dive into it.
We will just start and dive into it. So guys, enjoy it with us, please. There we go.
Okay, so Kaiserklein get the perfect split. He get us every resource with exactly one CDP to maximum efficiency. One CDP is on the wood. No, two CDPs are on the wood crates, and he hurts it in perfectly.
And that is what you wanted to talk about earlier. Sagune has 4 different spawns, but only 2 of those are irrelevant. So 2 of those are about weather and kind of surrounding conditions. But the most important thing about Sagune is that you can either get 4 trading posts in a N form, kind of in the lower part of the map, so going from one side to the other. And then you also have the spawn where it goes just like a straight line from the middle to the lower end of the map, giving you only 3 TPs. And Kaiserklein is making sure he gets at least one of those TPs immediately.
He's opting to go for a 12-10 or a 13-20. He's going for a 13-20 because he scouts a wood treasure mid-map. and he's able to do that by sending his native scout directly to the middle of the map. And three wolves are no match for the French explorer and the support of the French native scout. One of the best units you can argue is the French native scout for the French player, because it's really versatile, and if it isn't detected, you get so much information from your opponent.
If you know how to utilize the unit right, because that is not something a lot of French players can do. But we talk about Kaiserklein, the French player probably, if we're talking about French players in the entire game.
So he keeps scouting, he comes across a nearly mature Coyote Pup, and I think XP Treasure. Sneaky Kaiserklein makes his way up to the top of his opponent's base with his explorer. If you're unfamiliar with the map spawns, they are always spawning a big treasure, like a tier 2 or even higher treasure, with big payout on the top of each player's map, each player's base, and this time it's XP for 2 polar bears. The German explorer is nowhere to be seen, so he can get away with taking that for free, basically.
He is taking a lot of damage, but it's not important if there's no explorer to take advantage of that near term. And what we see also is that he's actually able to get up at 240 with 13 villager age, which makes France in general is just rather competitive when it comes to food income or good treasures, because they can easily get down to a 13 villager age, or even to a 12-10 with a rather viable age up.
If you find big food treasure, you really want to go for a 12-10 in this matchup, because you need to apply pressure. The German player has the stronger early, or he has more economic gain in the early portions of the game with the settler wagon shipments. Those 3 settler wagons coming in clutch usually, and the early portions of Fortress are also in favor of the German player, which is also why the Germans like to go to 40Ps. And Kaiserklein is no slouch. He scouts the German explorer on the trading post, so he knows he can go for another treasure, even though he has low hit points, and he takes the safe treasure on top of his base. I think he already shift commanded his explorer to crackshot the first, and taking down the second. He micros it a little bit, but no big deal.
The beautiful thing about wolves is that you can actually get down a melee attack and then make them attack you, and afterwards run away so far that he actually gets a shot out again, so to maximize damage on them.
He dragboxed quickly the jet, because he first went for 3 Huss, and then he changed his mind, because the German player probably went up with 15 instead, or 16 instead of 17 villager, so he is up earlier, and the native scout is really good, because he also gets maximum information. He knows there's an exposed villager on the hunt, which is why the 3 Huss shipment probably would have killed it, but since the German first 3 settler wagons with the 2 Uhlans can protect the 1 villager, he went for the 4 credit bar. Really high level stuff we see here, like adapting on the fly.
And also rather fascinating to even think about going 3 Huss first in order to punish the German player for an age up that they usually cannot match, right?
So the first military building for Kaiserklein is a stable. If you're the most aggressive option for France in this matchup is usually 700 wood first, and then you go crossbow pike with a barracks mid-map, so you can siege down the opponent's trading post and stuff. The second one is Huss. The most defensive is muskets, because you have less.
You don't have muskets as a shipment.
No, but you have if you go for barracks. Chop, not chop, but gather coin and food, and go for defensive musketeers to support, so to secure your resources and defend rates. He picks up one villager.
Nice so far.
Yeah, it's really good. It looks like he's macroing for nature. He scouts the stable about now.
And now the interesting thing is that Ungurs actually, he does not really back down from the fight. Why
Yeah,
doesn't he do
yeah.
it? Because there,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh shit! No, yeah. Hey, it's going. Oh, it's down. I think we have to censor the.
The sense of the whole thing. No, it's not that bad yet. We haven't said that that filthy words so often, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
We can see that we had that big batch of Uhlans coming out, and of course Ungurs timed that. He knew that was going to happen. Not the Hussar raid probably, but he knew that he would have to keep those Hussars occupied, and Kaiserklein actually being annoyed about the fact that his Huss, when they wanted to get out of the situation, he drag boxed all of them. They went to the left side again, into the arms of the Uhlans, and that kind of... Well, it killed all of his Huss. He would have gotten 3 of those out probably.
Massive
yeah.
loss. He has no map presence. The only thing going for him is
H3.
H3. He is already on his way, more than 3/4 up, and he will be up first probably. Especially after he saw that many Uhlans who are now in front of his base. The only good thing about Uhlans is they don't have that much siege, and if you can hide your villagers in your town center, they don't do that much economic damage.
Interesting part here, right? He just wanted to send 5 dragoons to counter that kind of unit composition.
Yeah.
But what he's doing now is basically he's getting dragoons from the stable and he's producing Uhlans.
Barely housed.
He's producing. He's sending cuirassiers. Why?
Yeah.
Because you can. It's easier to get dragoons out from your stable than a full cuirassier, because that is 300 resources against barely 200.
And he's almost to his next shipment, which will turn out crucial in this matchup, I would argue.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs to make something happen because he's on the back foot. He's up, but he has a small window where he can do damage, or
I can make something happen.
Release some pressure on his position, because that mass of Uhlans, if it is upgraded to veteran, is not easy to cope with. So he tries to find them and reduce the army count, so he can get away with his new shipment, the 1k wood. Manu, M.F.D, what do you think about the 1k wood in this situation?
Generally speaking, 1k wood is an extremely essential economic shipment for France, because they need infrastructure or need upgrades. The problem is, usually as France, the point where you fall behind is third age, economically speaking, if you don't have any other way to produce extra economic growth, because you just don't have the same training time as a normal settler. It means your economic speed and economic growth falls off. And what he does is he uses his army that he has, so the 5 dragoons he built there, 4 that he built up there, and those are going to help to kind of not kill Ungurs' army, but to kind of slow him down, to diminish his numbers, to do some damage, and to make Ungurs reconsider and not make him push the next 1 or 2 minutes. And that is what he needs, because now he has 1,000 wood in the bank, and he can use that to get important economic upgrades, to get on, well, we'll see in a second, to get on water.
Yeah.
And that is super important for this matchup here, because that is what might just be the edge that he needs to get back in the game. Because it might not look like much, but the 5 Huss he lost earlier really put him on the back foot, because he lost him almost for free, right?
Yeah, he got 1 Ulan, 2 villages, and that's
not a good trade.
That's not enough. And early fortress is heavily favored for the German player. The 9 Ulans, the 8 skirmisher with 2 Ulans, the 7 skirmisher with 2 Ulans. That's so much
value
stuff that the German player throws your way, and you have to defend well to get to late fortress, where this matchup shifts, and you as France will have a breathing time, because your cavalry is tankier, because your cavalry can tank more, and where the area of effect of a cuirassier can deal proper damage to Ulans with high damage but low hit points. Really nice stuff. He scouts first where the hunt is and even drops down a dog. Also getting amalgamation to bolster his coin income, and by dropping a dog he can preserve more natural land resources. The structure of this map is that you have a very secure resources on the top of your base, because you have line of sight, especially if you're as knowledgeable as Kaiserklein and place your market in such a position that you always see if there are incoming raids. And the top mine is really hard to raid, but it's only a 2k mine, so around minute 16 he will be through his third or second.
That's second mine.
Yeah,
up there.
so he will be around minute 16. He will be through his third mine, and he needs to have a proper army at that point to be able to get back on the map.
Yeah, and one fascinating thing, one most fascinating thing is we talked about the value of the native scout before, and what we just saw was the explorer for Germany is just out of the picture. He's dead, right? And in the middle of the map, we just saw the entire army for Ungurs. So Kaiserklein had a lot of time to not just mentally prepare, so to think about what kind of army he was going to face, but to actually see what kind of army he was going to face. Yeah, and you see that immediately when Ungurs takes the first hits of those cannons, he's going to go back, because he knows that he can't
push into that base.
He just can't deal with that damage potential, can't he?
With potential pops from stable and from the town center.
Absolutely agree.
And pathing is really hard around buildings, especially with composition that composes of a lot of hussar or hand cavalry type units, as Uhlans are.
Pathing for melee cav is always an issue, to say the least.
I wish I would have coyote runners. Yes. Almost every civ. Yes.
Coyote, chimus, that is what we want actually. Please just give us more of those. And again, look at that. We see almost the entire damn army for Ungurs. That is incredible.
Now we are at the point where Kaiserklein kind of got back into the matchup.
Yeah.
He has lower skirms.
Points are equal,
skirms are always important in every fight, because they fire non-stop. But he has the cannons, which are outranging the skirmisher and are natural counters to skirmishers, since they ignore their range resist because they make siege damage, as you guys probably know.
Yeah, a cannon to the face is always a good thing to have against the enemy.
Unless you are Crowdebrat and you don't care.
Yeah, then you just don't care.
Oh, really nice stuff. Little raids, but as I mentioned earlier, it's really hard to raid this top mine. It's really well protected in line of sight. I think Ungurs didn't scout the water play by Kaiserklein.
I'm pretty sure he didn't, because it's not far enough up there.
Oh man, we see trades of blows back and forth. Ungurs is trying to push the issue. He knows he needs. He knows he has Kaiserklein on the ropes, but not.
Yeah, not on ropes, but he has been a good.
Yeah,
I'd say it's a fair fight, right?
Yeah, it's a fair fight at the moment. The cannons doing work. They are still uncontested. No. You can't really make calories in this situation, because, especially as Germany, you need gold
for everything. Yeah. For every single thing that you're going to build, you need a huge load of gold.
You don't want to deal with cannons of culverines if you don't really have to.
The problem for Kaiserklein now is, if we're looking up there, first of all, he has no hunts in his base and he has no map control. Right now he has no map control. He can slowly push out maybe now, but he had no map control before.
Really nice.
He's going down with a lot of villagers, if I see that correctly, to the next coin mine.
Yeah, his hunt just ran out.
Yeah, he's just aiming to build up his food economy with the ships that he's building up in his dock up there.
Now his mine runs out, and he traded well the last couple of minutes, so he has enough stuff to just secure the resources in front of his base. But you just see the mass of Uhlans, the mass of war wagons
really
floating his way. He drops a tower and just to be sure that no raid will catch him off guard.
Yeah.
Um,
Super important right there, because
Yeah.
that might end the game. If he loses 10 or more builds, then that is over.
if you're around 1200 ELO player, keep in mind plays in late fortress, or if it goes really late colonial and you have advanced arsenal, place your arsenal. You want to improve your military even further. It's more important than economic upgrades, because at the end of the day, who has the better and the more military will be able to gather from natural resources. So you want those juicy upgrades like cavalry cuirass, or in a matchup like France against Britain, the counter infantry rifling to counter those musketeer style units. Now we have a big clash in the middle of the map.
Absolutely impressive stuff. Again, splitting the armies in the right ways, not in the ways that us noobs do sometimes,
Yeah,
and doing a whole lot of damage.
still seeing raids left, right, and center.
Oh,
nice volley.
four of those guys going
Oh
down
my
there. And now Ungurs going in there trying to force the fight, and now we see what the value of those cuirassiers actually is. They are just a goddamn meat shield. They are a menace, and you don't even have the arsenal upgrade right now, but still, look at that. Uhlans are overpowering them by numbers, but they're just not getting through because they have so much damage. They have so much damage on them, and now we have a Mars, Goon Skirm Mars, that is just pushing back the surviving war wagons, and that was the huge fight for
still having
Kaiserklein.
cannons. That's actually. I'm just.
Yeah, I'd say both of us can say we don't know even a handful of players who can pull that off. That kind of fight with the cannons surviving, right?
If there's a heaven in Age of Empires 3, I think Kaiserklein just had a glimpse of it.
Yeah,
Just grasped a glimpse of it.
absolutely insane fight right there. And he just bolstering up his numbers now with a second skirm shipment, also rather useful. And I mean, we see the huge point difference of 5,000 points at this point, and they were equal before the fight.
Yeah.
So that tells us a lot.
Now he's able to push off the German player from the natural resources, from the mine. Mines for Germany are crucial. It's one, if not the most important resource for them. They need everything, every viable unit for the German player uses coin. He positions his dragoons in a way that he can cover his own eco on the bottom of the map.
And that is an important point right
there. Tell that.
I'm just going to tell this because we watched the game before, and I did not know why he was asking that, but actually Alex knows why. The idea is that Ungurs needs to know if those folks are that, because what is he thinking about sending? He's thinking about sending his own 12 Jaegers. And Jaegers, as we know, in the Skirm War are extremely powerful. Those units can fight and train with 40% range resistance, all that, and damage over damage. But the problem is, if you have cannons, and that raid is going to be the next thing you talk about, but if you have cannons, you can just extremely diminish the effect that Jaegers have, because 2 cannon shots are 2 or 3 dead Jaegers, and that is already a fourth of your entire shipment gone, so you can't send those if the folks are still alive. Now down there we had 10 or 12 units getting deleted, 10 or 12 villages worth. Basically, I'm not saying deciding the game, but that is a setup that if Germany can't make something happen, then that is going to be GG right there, because that is just completely disturbing the entire economy going.
Ungurs has one shot and one shot only, and it will go down in the next 2 minutes probably. Otherwise the French player will just outmass, outscale,
out-eco, out everything.
Yeah.
And now, what is this? We see a whole lot of bullshit right there.
Trolls everywhere. Ooh, that's a lot of that skirmishers.
Because we are talking about Uhlans there. Those guys, they have a leather jacket as an armor, but they have a goddamn bazooka as an attack weapon. Because those guys are just deleting everything in their melee path, and even though there's anti-cavalry, everything is going to get deleted.
Cuirassier, who are so vital to body block the enemy, enemy Uhlans.
And not on the front.
They arrived late. They just came in. And now they are up against the war wagons, which have melee resistance.
Probably one of those rare times where that goddamn melee resistance actually comes into play, right? And we see Kaiserklein being
He's
down
quite
to one.
upset with himself.
Yeah, where's Mike Trevor? And he is right about that. No, I mean, not saying that he microed that badly, but the point is that micro might lose him the game because he now is back to just 2,000 points ahead from what 5,000 or 6,000 points ahead, and the German player still his army, and he is trying to get his villages in place again. But the problem is, it's not that easy because potentially the German player could be pushing on all sides now with the units that he has. He could just attack Kaiserklein everywhere, and he's absolutely right. His skirms were in the first row. They were, let's say, not just in the front row to witness the slaughter, but to be part of the goddamn slaughter. They were slaughtered. That is the point. He had them in the front row. The cav that needs to tank the damage was in the second row, and then the cav that does the damage was in the third row. Doing damage, yes, but that is the only reason they survived, because they were not taking damage. But the rest of the unit was completely wiped out, and that was absolutely disastrous for Kaiserklein.
Now the dog play from 10 minutes earlier comes in clutch because Kaiserklein still has coin, and usually without the dog you would expect the French player to be starved out of gold at that point. And
food if you look at his position.
Which is why most of the matches in this particular matchup you would see veteran crossbow to protect here to
on a higher level,
into invest every single grain of gold into your anti-cav and into your cuirassier mass to match the German Ulan mass, which he naturally develops by getting shipments. But luckily for Kaiserklein, he still has gold, he still has veils, which are infinitive, and he still got the power spike of the 1k gold shipment. He just received it from his home city.
And down there, more raids are going on, more economy.
It's
down
just
for German
impressive
players.
how multitasking both players are. They are left, right, and center.
Multitasking potentially is
infinite. He spots the warbanks quickly and knows he has to get out of there quickly.
And he is saving 1,000 resources down there. Just don't make the mistake to think that it's not important to save those units. It actually is. And he's going back because he knows he doesn't need to take the fight right now. And we see it now that those goddamn falconets got killed in the fight earlier, now we do see the Jaegers. That is when they're valuable. Because now there's no unit that directly counters them. That directly diminishes the 1,000 coin that went into those units.
Yeah. You can't be aggressive with Jaegers if you're pushing into opponent's farks. That's just not happening if your opponent's on the top of his game. It doesn't matter if Kaiserklein loses villages at that point, one or another, because at the end of the day you need to keep your army count high, and CDPs with their 40% range resist are perfect to soak up damage while still staying near resources in the middle of the map and keep gathering, keep soaking up damage, and they're just a really nice unit in design, I would say. Many would argue at least a lower rated player that they are overpowered, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just a villager, but they're nice.
Just a villager.
Yeah,
I know. I get what you mean.
Which we also will see in this game when
look at that, But before we go to that, look at that. He's basically pushing back the skirmers for the villages.
He even tech blunderbuss to increase the damage on his CDBs. You never would take that, and he punches down the German settler to claim his rightful gold.
Basically, just the usual CDB asserting dominance over some goddamn pleb. There we go. But now, Kaiserklein just looking stronger than ever now, 5,000 points ahead, even after facing that incredible loss against Ungurs. And now he's sending Wilderness Warfare, increasing his skirm HP by 20% and also villager HP by 20%, which is fascinating because that is a problem that Germany has. Germany does not win a lot of skirm fights against civs that have skirm upgrades, and we have 2 for Kaiserklein. He put them into place, and there we go. GG from Ungurs. What a game that was, I'd say, right?
I hope I haven't promised too little when I said that's one hell of a treat. I mean, we had everything. We had water play, we had back and forth, raiding all over the place. It seems like it goes Ungurs' way, then Kaiserklein's, then a huge throw up by Kaiserklein. The middle of the map around minute 20, where he loses all his skirmish, and oh yeah, he showcases it very quickly. Maybe pause for a sec?
Yeah, so we don't miss those important details. So, well, I mean, it's a bit weird now with the blacked out screen, but we'll try our best.
Yeah.
Military unit population. Look at that. All the fights we see, or at least we see that early fight with the. I think that was the one here with the 5 hussars.
Oh, it
No,
was
wait, that's
H2.
Here, yeah, right. Yeah. That was the one with the 5 hussars. That was the one where he exchanged armies, and he did manage to. Basically, what he did was he managed to I think up here. That was the first time again when Ungurs pushed, and that time, and you look at that, he was always behind. That time was what he needed, what Kaiserklein needed to get back into the game.
Yeah, that was that 1k wood shipment, which kinda at the first minutes you notice the 1k wood by the amount of military you can produce, because you don't have to gather that much wood, which is the lowest gathering resources, if you haven't known that, and you can actually put more villager on coin and on food to keep out spamming badges from your barracks, from your stable, and that's why he kind of kept up the tempo with the German player, who had a superior mass of Uhlans in H2, and with the big Falk volleys he got while Ungurs was pushing his base, because he was under pressure. You can really feel, you can really sense the pressure he was under.
Yeah.
But he crawled his
way back into the game. Yeah.
He really worked for it. You can
absolutely fascinating. And now just look at this latest statistics. So the first real fight that happened was when he already had his Falks out, right? And we see that here we have what 130 military population, not numbers, population, against close to 100. So let's say 115, 110 or something. 115 probably population for Kaiserklein. But the drop is that much higher for Ungurs, and Kaiserklein has lost that much fewer units. So such an incredible display of skill right there, because he had the right unit composition, a 4 unit composition. So it's Goon, Skirm, Cuirassier, and Cannon against the 3 unit composition, and he just put those cannons to work the entire damn fight.
Yeah.
And Ungurs remasked rather properly. Not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
He did a good job, because Kaiserklein was still focused on getting his eco back in order, because he was on the back foot right there.
Really nice stuff. Sadly, we kind of missed the point where cavalry combat was shipped by both players. It's always cavalry. If you the second most valuable shipment after 1k wood in the third age is the cavalry combat,
especially with that unit composition
for both Germany and France, because your Uhlans scale incredibly well with attack, because they have those high attack damage, and you really want the HP on your hand cavalry to be able to keep the snare going, to keep forcing the engagement, because Uhlans by design are kind of a glass cannon type unit.
Absolutely.
You either go in or you go down.
Yeah.
If you pull out too early.
If you just go, you can't just use like a hussar or a cuirassier, because if you go into the fight, you take the shots and then you get back out. By the time you're out of range again, half of units are gonna be dead. But if they went in, they would have at least done some damage. So there's the problem with Uhlans is that they are just not tanky. That is in general a problem for German players, that they, when the fights get bigger, they have a lot of hard-hitting units, but not a lot of units that trade well in those big fights where a lot of damage is coming, where you need to be able to sustain your damage potential.
With big fights, you can't really mow down one flank. If you have the micro advantage of your opponent, you can mow down one flank with a big Ulan.
But who the hell
against Kaiserklein
has a micro advantage against that monster?
He really showed why France, and with their backbone, namely their gendarme cuirassier, is so powerful in this matchup, because he always kept, or his skirmisher numbers in good fights stayed equal, but he traded off the gendarmes just to
kill off the Uhlans.
Yeah, kill off the Uhlans and keep his back row safe, to keep his cannon safe, to keep his skirmisher safe, and the dragoons who also support the gendarmes in killing off the Uhlans, the very high damage units.
Basically what he did was he sacrificed his cuirassiers and deleted the highest DPS units that his enemy had, and therefore won the fight, because in the end there was a huge mass of his own standing while the other mass was completely gone.
Yeah, that's the second fight.
That was the first fight, and the second fight, let's not talk about that again, because here he made a mistake, an honest mistake, but a mistake that almost, not almost, but that could have cost him the game if it was not for Kaiserklein just pulling it all together again, and this huge eco advantage from before.
But it nicely showcases what happens if you have skirmishers in front row.
Absolutely. A slaughter happens, and not a good one. Let's just keep on watching through this whole thing so we can see a few other stats there. We're not going to hear any audio from the game because, well, we're watching this on Twitch right now.
Yeah.
And Twitch bans the music that Kaiserklein is playing half the time. So we have been lucky for the first part of the game, but now we're not that lucky.
It's the second time covering this part. Anyway, big shout out to Kaiserklein
and Ungurs for those games.
Good
and
stuff. I mean, it's not wasted time whatsoever. It's really a treat watching the creme de la creme fighting for every small advantage, and I really took away one or two things from this game, probably even more, but I hope you guys
did that as well.
Got a grasp why Kaiserklein is on top of the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. Just look at this. We see from here on, his resource stat is going just up, and staying close to German stats, of course, because he had not a lot of access to good resources most of the time. And he was gathering food for a lot of this time with his boats only, but then he managed to get it all back up, and the German player was completely raided around here. So that was really bad, of course, and that decided the game in the end. It would have been a much closer game if he had not raided those 10 settler wagons.
Now he showcases it.
Yeah, look at that. We can exactly see where this whole drop happened.
That was all the settler wagons.
That was absolutely insane. A unit you can't replace that unit with anything else. They're just gone.
If they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
Then your economy has a maximum seal, kind of, and it's lower than usually. Last time you pointed out a really good point.
There we go.
With the German economy staying ahead, so being equal as Germany against France when it comes to villager population.
Yeah. That is interesting. If we look at this villager population graph, we can't forget one thing. If Kaiserklein, if France ever is on par, so at the same level with any other civilization, villager population wise, then well, they are ahead in eco. That might sound a bit weird, but the CDB has just such a higher. They have a higher base gather rate, which is also increased with the upgrades. So upgrades count more. Cards that increase gather rate count more, and all that stuff stacks on top of itself, meaning that you have a villa that costs one population, costs a bit more food, but also gathers 20 or 25% faster, which is incredibly insane.
Okay, so that's
first part
for us. I hope you had as much pleasure as we did covering this highly complex masterpiece. And
we are now going to move to something
yeah,
much lower.
no. I mean, it's still insane, and putting at least some points into practice is not an easy task whatsoever.
Absolutely.
I mean, when do you ship 1K wood? Quick question, pub quiz for you guys. When would you ship 1K wood? Just think about it. It's like, yeah. Keep a comment in the description.
Really
And
interesting
leave
to us.
a like.
Yeah.
It's really supporting the channel.
That is something I usually don't say, but Alex is here, so
Yeah.
just listen to him, please. See you in a second for the second part, guys.